Hi friends, I am Dr. Krupa Rasne, professor from Jain College of Engineering, Belgavi.
So now let us continue with the network and cybersecurity, the module 2, and hence we are revising the second module, which is email security. We are referring to the same textbook by William Stallings, Cryptography and Network Security Principles. So the learning objectives in this video is to present an overview of PGP, that is pretty good privacy, and also look into MIME, that is multipurpose internet mail extension. We'll also look into the functionality of SMIME, that is secure MIME. And we know that the users send email to others who are connected directly or indirectly to the internet, regardless of hosting operating systems or communication suite. With the explosive growing reliance on email, there grows a demand for authentication and confidentiality services. Two schemes stand out as approaches that enjoy widespread use, pretty good privacy, and SMIME, providing the requirements for the authentication and confidentiality services. The module 2, electronic mail security, will be dealing with pretty good privacy as well as SMIME, considering that this is a revision session. So we'll have to look into all the points as quickly as possible. Pretty good privacy. It is available free worldwide in versions that run on a variety of platforms, including Windows, Unix, Macintosh, and many more. It is based on algorithms that include RSA, DSS, and Diffie-Hellman for public key encryption, CAST-128, IDEA, and 3DES DES for symmetric encryption, and SHA-1 for hash coding. PGP is now an Internet Standards Track RFC 3156 MIME security with OpenPGP. Nevertheless, PGP has an aura of an anti-establishment endeavor. The operation of PGP. The actual operation of PGP consists of four services, that is PGP authentication, digital signature, PGP confidentiality encryption, then PGP confidentiality and authentication, PGP compression, and email compatibility. To understand the operation of the PGP using the block diagram, certain notations are used. M is the original message, KS is the session key used in symmetric encryption scheme, PRA means private key of user A, PUA means public key of user A, EP means public key encryption, DP is public key decryption, EC is symmetric encryption, DC is symmetric decryption, H is hash function, and this in it tells you concatenation. Z means compression using zip algorithm, and for decompression we use Z inverse. Also R64 is the radix 64, which is conversion to radix 64 ASCII format. This is being used. Now, looking at the operation, the first one, authentication, that is the digital signature service. So what we can see here is this is the original message sent by the user, and the SHA-1 is used to generate a 160-bit hash code of this message. The hash code is then encrypted with RSA using the sender's private key, and the result is perpended with the message, means appended or concatenated with the message, and that gets further compressed, and then this is sent to the receiver side. At the receiver side, first it will be decompressed, and then the message that is received will, then the receiver will use the RSA with the sender's public key, and it will try to recover the hash code, and the receiver also generates a new hash code for the message and compares it with the decrypted hash code. If the two messages match, the message is accepted as authentication. Next, we have please refer to the notations earlier what I have said, and here what we are doing is we are achieving authentication with digital signature but no confidentiality at the PGP operation with only confidentiality. So here what happens is we have got the message. This message is compressed, and then there is the sender generates a message and a random 128-bit numbers to be used as a session key for this message only. The message is encrypted using cast 128 or IDEA or 3DES with the session key. The session key is also encrypted with RSA using the recipient's public key and is concatenated to this message. This is then sent to the receiver side. At the receiver side, the receiver uses the RSA with its private key to decrypt and recover the session key. The session key is used to decrypt this message that is come here using this decryption algorithm. This is further decompressed and recovered the message. So what we see here is we will be looking only at the confidentiality, but it does not have any authentication and digital signature. Authentication. As figure illustrates both services, that is confidentiality and as well as the authentication can be achieved with this diagram. The sender first signs the plain text message, which is encrypted using the cast 128 or IDEA or 3DES by its own private key, and it gets concatenated with the original message. Then you see that there is a compression here, and then you see the session key is being encrypted using RSA or LGML, and finally encrypts the session key with the recipient public key. Note that compression happens after the signature and before this encryption. We'll see its advantages later. This sequence, what we have seen, that is, first there is a signature and then there is an encryption. Rather, this is preferred over the opposite, that is, first encryption over the next is the signature. It is generally more convenient to store a signature with a plain text version of a message, and also for the third party verification. If the signature is performed first, the third party need not be concerned with the symmetric key when varying the signature. So in this way, both confidentiality and authentication can be achieved. At the receiver end, the message can be recovered by the opposite way that we are doing it here. Compression algorithm. So the signature is generated before the compression for two reasons. One is it is preferable to sign an uncompressed message so that one can store only the uncompressed message together with the signature for future verification. And even if one is willing to generate dynamically a recompressed message for verification, PGP's compression algorithm presents the problem. The algorithm is not deterministic. Various implementation of the algorithm achieve different trade-offs in running speed versus the compression ratio, and as a result produce different compressed forms. Applying the hash function and signature after compression would constrain all PGP implementation to the same version of the compression algorithm. The message encryption is applied after compression. This is to strengthen cryptographic security. Because the compressed message has less redundancy than the original plain text, CRIST analysis is more difficult. The compression algorithm used is ZIP, which is discussed in appendix of the textbook. Email compatibility. When PGP is used, at least part of the block to be transmitted is encrypted and consists of a stream of arbitrary 8-bit octets. However, many electronic mail systems only permit the use of blocks consisting of ASCII text. To accommodate this restriction, PGP provides the service of converting the raw 8-bit binary stream to a stream of printable ASCII characters. The scheme used for this purpose is Radix 64 conversion. Each group of 3 octets of binary data is mapped into 4 ASCII characters. Course, the relation among the 4 services so far discussed. This is the transmission reception. On transmission, if it is required, a signature is required, then it is generated using the hash code of the uncompressed plain text. Then the plain text plus the signature, if it is present, is compressed. Next, if confidentiality is required, the block is encrypted and appended with the public key encrypted symmetric encryption key. Finally, the entire block is converted to radix 64 format. At the reception side, the incoming block is first converted back from radix 64 format to binary. Then, if the message is encrypted, the recipient recovers the session key and then decrypts the message. Then the resulting block is then decompressed. If the message is signed, the recipient recovers the transmitted hash code, okay, and compares it with its own calculated value of hash code. If this matches, then it is said to be the correct message. Guys, the PGP services here. The functions are digital signature, message encryption, compression, and the email compatibility. The algorithms used for digital signature is DSS, SHA or RSA, SHA. Message encryption is CAST or IDEA or 3-key triple DES and Diffman-Hellman. This is the description that is being given for these algorithms. For compression, we are using the zip, and for it transmits in the zip format. And for email compatibility, as I explained earlier, radix 64 conversion is being used, and this is how the summary of PGP services are applied. In this particular module is pretty good privacy. You've seen the different notation and all the operational description. We will now look into the SMIME RF5322 and multipurpose internet mail extension, that is MIME. So the multipurpose internet mail extension, or SMIME, it is a security enhancement to the MIME internet email format standard based on the technology from RSA Data Security. Although both PGP and SMIME are on the IETF standards track, it appears likely that SMIME will emerge as the industry standard for commercial and organizational use, while PGP will remain the choice for personal email security for many users. SMIME is defined in a number of documents, most importantly RFC 3370, 3850, 3851, and 3852. To understand SMIME, we first need to have a general understanding of the underlying email format that it uses, namely MIME. So coming to RF532, the overall structure of a message that conforms to RF5322 is very simple. The message consists of some number of headlines, that is the header, followed by unrestricted text, that is the body. The header is separated from the body by a blank line. Put differently, a message is ASCII text and all lines up to the first blank lines are assumed to be header lines used by the user agent part of the mail system. A header line usually consists of a keyword followed by a colon followed by the keyword's arguments. The format allows a long line to be broken up into several lines. The most frequently used keywords are from, to, subject, and date. Here is an typical example. Another field that is commonly found in RFC 5322 header is message ID. This field consists of a unique identifier associated with this message. So looking at multipurpose internet mail extension, the multipurpose internet mail extension MIME is an extension to the RFC 5322 framework that is intended to address some of the problems and limitations of the use of simple mail transfer protocol, that is SMTP. This is, we have all heard, defined in RFC 821. MIME is intended to resolve these problems in a manner that is compatible with existing RFC 5322 implementations. The specifications is provided in RFC 2045 through 2049. So there are five header fields defined in MIME. That is MIME version, content type, content transfer encoding, content ID, and content description. MIME version has the parameter value 1. This field indicates that the message conforms to RFC 2045 and 2046. Next is the content type header field. It describes the data contained in the body with sufficient details that the receiving user agent can pick an appropriate agent or mechanism to represent the data to the user or otherwise deal with the data in an appropriate manner. Next header is the content transfer encoding, indicates the type of transformation that has been used to represent the body of the message in a way that is acceptable for mail transport. Next header is content ID, used to identify MIME entities uniquely in multiple texts. Then it is followed by content description, a text description of the object with the body. This is useful when the object is not readable, example, audio data. So these are the five header fields defined in MIME. So coming to the MIME content type, you can see there are 7 different major types of content, that is multi-part, message, image, and so forth, and a total of 15 subtypes. For the text type of the body, no special software is required to get the full meaning of the text aside from the support indicated character set. The primary subset is the plain text, as we can see here, which is a simple string of ASCII characters or ISO 885859. Okay, the enriched subtype allows greater formatting and flexibility. The next is the multi-part. If you see the multi-part type, it indicates that the body contains multiple independent parts, and hence the content type header field includes a parameter called a boundary that defines the delimiter between the body parts. So like that, we'll have a different major types and subtypes, formats, and how it has to be done in order to get back the message, proper message. Different MIME transfer encoding. So it could be 7-bit. The data are all represented by short lines of ASCII characters. It could be 8 bits. The lines are short, but there may be non-ASCII characters, octets with the higher order bit set. Like that, we may have binary, or we may have coded printable, base 64, or we can have an X token. That is a named non-standard encoding. So these are all different MIME transferred encoding. Coming to native and canonical form, the body to be transmitted is created in a system's native format. So the body will be in the native form, and the entire body, which includes out of band information such as record lengths and possibly the file attribute information, it is converted to a universal canonical format. Video. The electronic mail security. We have looked into the pretty good privacy notations we have seen and different operational descriptions we have done. We have looked into the SMIME, that is RFC 5322, its definition and overall structure in electronic mail. We have also looked into the MIME, how it is used for transmitting non-textual data and other binary objects, which is not possible earlier in RFC 5322 or SMTP. Then we have also looked into MIME specification, the header and content types, and the different encoding transfer encoding types. We have also briefly looked into the canonical form of encoding. Please feel free to ask any questions. Thank you.